What's up, guys? Specstar here today, and a man's addicted. He can't stay away, I guess. I decided to step into Hive Beedrill to replace my boy PapaDynamax, who at the time of me replacing him had a record of 1-4, subtract 8. And you know what? They call me PapaDynamax because I've got 2 games here trying to salvage his crap load of a season so far. And this is the team I inherited, and in this I will be playing commonly and I will be playing juiced. I had to use this team against commonly, and I made changes for the battle against juiced. Now, I'm going to recap some of the changes I made first. Let me just make sure the view is right on this. It should be. Alright. So, as you see here, I'm going to have Roserade over Whimsicott. That's going to cost me 20 extra points. It is a tiered league, but it's a tier AB league. And Roserade will cost me 20 extra points. I will drop Jellicent for Comfey. I'm going to drop Marshtomp, which is crap, and have to spend 20 more points to get Rotom, which, can you believe that thing was a tier 5? I don't even like Rotom, but I like it for 40 points. Then I'm going to drop Nihilego for Seismitoad, which will free up some points, and better replace the Jellicent, the terrible Jellicent Whimsicott Grass Water Core, which that was some balls I had to play with. Maybe not the best analogy there. That was a crappy little thing I had to deal with in the one game I had to play with that old team, that water grass core being so terrible. And my last change will be spending 20 extra points to upgrade Simisear, which is garbage, to Drampa, which is goat tier. So for my first battle here, and the only one with the prior team, let me get this right, I will be facing up against Commonly. And my team for that will be right here. I've got a bulky Mega Glade with Sword Stance and Drain Punch. A weird little Nihilego, which is heavily speedy and also heavily HP invested, which just can perform defensive and offensive functions, as well as being able to get up rocks for me. Metagross, which is Assault Vest, aiming to deal with what I thought would be potentially like a 3 attack, more offensive Alakazam, as he would probably see Mandibuzz as the bigger threat to it, in theory, in preparation, I would think. Maybe not, kind of where my head was at. I'm going to have a physically defensive Mandibuzz with Taunt, and I'm going to have a Whimsicott here, which, as its name says, is the worst Mon in the world. And it's going to be pretty speedy with 2 attacks and defog for if I need it, in case he potentially tries to hazard stack. And finally, I have a Jellicent, which is just physically defensive, Will-O-Wisp, and Hacks. So I'll get to the replay here, and let's get this show on the road. He's going to lead off with Muck. I'm going to lead off with Whimsicott, which it's going to force me into Jellicent. I didn't have much great switch-ins for Muck. I mean, I could have brought something that would have been a better switch-in for Muck, but just the way the team kind of lined up, it would be a Pokemon that only really helped with Muck and wouldn't be a much help to anything else. So I had to resort to using Jellicent as a switch-in for that thing. But I'm gonna throw off a Wisp here. He doesn't have a great switch-in to the Wisp, because if he goes into Slowking or Zam, the 2 Mons that aren't, well, I guess Ribombee too, the 2 Mons that aren't really bothered by being burned, they are bothered by being hexed. So I gotta go for my Wisp here. The Muck stays in, gets burned, goes for knockoff, does absolutely nothing. And I'm just gonna go for Recover. He's gonna go for Toxic again, predicting me to switch out. I'm in a tricky position. I can't really switch out here as much as he wants to predict me doing it. Oh, and then I did on the Pursuit. Not my best memory. I do believe there was more Muck on Jellicent action there. But I'm actually going to go hard into my Gallade, because after him failing to go for Toxic, I thought that he Would most likely go for a Dark move, which would give me a justified boost on the Glade and allow me to threaten him. With him being burned, I guess he could go for a Toxic, but I don't know if he wants to leave this in the face of a threat right now, so I'm just going to go right for Sword Stance, thinking about him potentially going out. But he goes into Rabombi, and I don't really... If he is max HP, and... What am I talking? If he is no HP and max speed and special attack, then I know that 2 Shadow Sneaks would take the thing out, and he would not be able to KO me with Moonblast unless he was Specs. But on the other hand, if he had any bulk, then it would have 1v1 the Glade, and that's just not a trade-off I found great. So I'm going to have to go into my Nihilego here. He's going to go into Piloswine as I get up rocks, and I'm going to have to go into Glade here, being aggressive. I'm going to Sword Stance as he goes into Slowking. I'll knock the thing off, but he's going to pop his Colbur Berry and throw off a Foul Play. Does a lot of damage, but I get to take the thing out with Knockoff. Rabombi comes back in, and I know that Nihilego is always a free switching on that thing. And since Glade's Fighting Stab is Drain Punch, I have potential to bring it back later and do something with it. Nihilego comes in. I'm going to actually go hard into Glade because his switching to my Nihilego, which I did not think would be risking letting Rabombi go down there. His switching is Piloswine, and with my bulk, I was out of range of an Ice Shard here, so I would have been able to pressure him a little bit with a Drain Punch. But instead, he actually goes for Bug Buzz, which was surprising to me, and I'm going to lose my Glade. I'm then going to bring back in Nihilego, and this time I'm going to just attack what's in front of me. But this time he makes a play in a Muck, and he is confounding me here. I'm going to have to go into Jellicent. You gotta love when Jellicent's your Alolan Muck switching. And I'll just recover up, and we get a little bit of a stall here. My Poison, it's going to slowly start racking here. I'm just going to have to throw off some Hexes. He does get aggressive clicking Toxic, probably in large part because I'm already chipping down, even if he does knock off wasn't doing that much damage anyway, so he had somewhat of a liberty to be aggressive. Eventually I will go on a Whimsicott, trying to catch Muck in range of Moonblast. It's going to depend on the set, but I do get a crit there, which is always unfortunate. Not 100% sure if based on whatever set he was, if he would have been able to take a Moonblast. I do think more likely than not he would have been able to, so the crit there does suck. It is annoying. He gets Alakazam, and I'm going to bring in my Metagross on it. I will munch that Psychic like an absolute boss, and then get a nice pursuit damage off on it. He brings in Skarmory and Roosop. Oh, I know you want attention, Chihuahua. You can come up here, but I'm not gonna grab you during the video. Anyway, back to the battle. I will have Nihilego in on the Skarmory, and he will bring in Piloswine on a Thunderbolt, and I will just sack off my Jellicent here. He's going to bring in the Alakazam, and that is just my chance to bring in Metagross. I will just click my Pursuit there, and again he tries to switch it out. So I take the 4-3 lead here. I bring in Mandibuzz on Piloswine as my switch-ins that are pretty damn limited right now. I go for Toxic, covers Rabombi, and the Piloswine staying in relatively well. I do actually pull the switch into my Metagross on the Rabombi, no longer needing to keep it healthy for the Alakazam. And I will here go for my Meteor Mash in the face of a Piloswine. I needed to get past Piloswine because if I did, I could win with Nihilego, and that's what I'm focusing on right now. He'll go for an Earthquake here. And I'm actually going to Pursuit the thing, thinking that he'll want to switch out. And it's a roll to put him in range of rocks, I do believe. But I did think he'd switch out because it seemed like Meteor Mash or Earthquake. No, I don't think Earthquake Earthquake doesn't take him out, but it would be Meteor Mash there, and Skarmory would come in free on that. So I thought that he would want to go into Skarmory there to preserve his Piloswine even at a low health, instead of letting it go down to Meteor Mash. and I knew that Pursuit had a chance to put it in range of rocks, so I will go for that there. And this man, this fucking man, he just brings that frickin' SD Skarmory on me. Can you believe that? And you know what? In my head right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm not losing to a Swords Dance Skarmory because I pretty much led the charge of roasting Sky for getting swept by an SD Skarmory. Shout out to my boy, my true friend Sky. So I am just at this point, I'm not having any of this. None of this. I'm just gonna roost up. I do know he is roost, and so I went for my roost here. I'm trying to get him to chip down. One thing I can't do is click foul play as much as I'd like to without knowing his spread, because if it does have bulk investment and I hit the thing and it survives, then I'm tripping its weak armor. And once it has its weak armor activated, then the thing could potentially sweep. But as long as I keep it at no speed, I know that Nihilego can come in and respond to it. So I just have to be very careful to deal with this thing without letting it boost its speed. He's going to roost up. I click roost again. And now here we're going to find out that we are speed tied here at 201 speed. We both have 201 speed, so we get in a pretty damn weird speed tie there. I'm gonna go for my taunt here. I just want to force him to continue to click Brave Bird and potentially put himself in range of Thunderbolt and take down Mandibuzz. He'll switch out here as I go for Roost, trying to Roost on Recoil. He brings in Rubombi, and I'm just going to bring in my Metagross. Now here, the thing is, I realize that I could attack the Rubombi, but I could risk giving Skarmory... Hey, puppy. I could risk giving Skarmory a weak armor boost and potentially putting this game in jeopardy. So I just had to click the one move that I knew could not give Skarmory the boost, which is Pursuit. And Rubombi will try to switch out there. Skarmory comes in. I'm going to go back into Mandibuzz. Again, I just have to keep the thing low. He goes for Swords Dance. I go for Taunt. I believe at this point, Foul Play had a good chance of being able to take him out. But again, I just could not risk it at all. I had to have him Brave Bird me. He goes for Night Slash, and I'm just going to sack off my Metagross here, because what I want to do, while he's still taunted, is go into my Whimsicott, which can hit him with a Hidden Power Fire, and that should either 2-hit KO him if he goes for Night Slash, or if he goes for Brave Bird, allow me to bring in Nihilego to revenge kill this thing. So I will go for my Hidden Power Fire here. He goes for Brave Bird. That's going to put the thing in range of the Thunderbolt, of course, and Nihilego will be able to wrap this up. And just after Nihilego wins me this week, I am going to drop it from the team and bring my new team into this week here against Juiced. And my team for Juiced is right here. I've got an Adamant Glade with just enough speed for... What is that? Oh yeah, I got just enough speed for his Crocodile. And I've got 4 attacks and Shadow Sneak. I figured that had the best potential to break his team. Setup would have been a nice luxury to have, but I could comfortably enough punch through his team without it, so I thought it was better to just have the coverage I needed to do so. Next up, I'm going to have my Zygarde, which is... This isn't the right team, is it? I don't think this is the right team, no. I changed the Zygarde. I know I did. I changed the Zygarde to actually... This was an initial version of the team, and I guess I pulled the wrong version up, so... A nice classic moment here. But I did change this to be sub over Outrage, and I kept The remainder of that set there, I would change the Outrage to Substitute and the Dragonium to the Ipapa Berry for a dual dance set, which I thought had nice potential against his team. Next up, I have the Scarf Hoopa, which I did leave this set. The Scarf physical attacking Hoopa with enough speed for Swellow, since I thought that his Coco, which by the way fist me, I basically had not a hell of a lot for it. Roserade was kind of the best answer to it I could have brought, and that's no answer at all. And I didn't creep the Coco with this because I wanted to be adamant, and I thought that he would want to be adamant on the Coco, as my team is pretty damn slow, since all the fast Pokemon were taken and not free agents. Next up, I got Especially Defensive Pursuit Metagross. Helps me deal with things like Latias on his team. Roserade, which is physically defensive with Spikes, Hidden Power Ground. And I switched Drampa, didn't I? Did I switch Drampa? I switched Drampa. Oh, again, we're dealing with an old version of the team. There were small changes made to it. I switched out Drampa for Entei, which is actually a design lead Entei, because basically anything he led with, I thought Entei could get some momentum with. Things like Mega Aggron, Crocodile, and Coco, which... Yeah, puppy. The dog is nuts. All things I thought could be a potential good lead in here. So, I went with an Entei. I put enough speed on it for it to outpace. Did I put enough? I think it's just enough speed for Crocodile, and then I put enough defense to take an Earthquake from Crocodile from an Adamant Scarf Crook. And the rest I put in special attack. Here is the interrupter of the video. The rest I put in special attack to do as much damage as I could while meeting that criteria and defense and speed I need for this thing to be an effective lead. So, starting this off, I'm going to lead Entei as planned. He leads off with a Reuniclus, and I'm just clicking Eruption. Whether he stays in or switches out, the play is just to click Eruption here. So, I will do that. He does switch out until the Crocodile, which really opens things up for Hoopa, which is fantastic. And I would just be able to 2 KO the thing with Eruption. Great start. He's going to go into Reuniclus, and I'm just going to click Eruption again to kind of feel him out. He is going to actually be, I'm going to figure out now, he's Modest Assault Vest, so that means probably a Regenerator, which is something to note. I'm going to switch this out and go into my Mega Glade, because actually I was thinking he would want to click Signal Beam there. Thinking I'd want to save Entei there, as I'm locked into a weak Eruption. I thought he would want to predict the Hoopa, or I guess he could have went for a Shadow Ball thinking about Metagross, but I thought he'd be more willing to be aggressive on Hoopa since it's more threatening to him than Metagross is. But actually he just clicked Psychic, so my Glade's going to take more damage than I wanted. Here I believe I'm just going to click the Knockoff as he goes into Tapu Koko. And that's going to do a Pittance as he shows to be Z-move. So I'm going to go into my Roserade because, well, I don't have anything for Coco. That's the damn truth of it. And that's going to go down. I'm going to go to my Scarf Hoopa and click Zen Headbutt because my Hyperspace Fury, even if he had no bulk at all, was a roll. So the Aggron comes in. I'm going to switch out to my Metagross here because he doesn't have the Latias, and I wanted to get my rocks up to potentially open things up for Hoopa. He goes for Earthquake, and that's going to do too much. I'm just going to have to set up my rocks here. Goes for another Earthquake. Do survive barely, and I'm just going to go for another Earthquake here to get some damage off. And basically my strategy in this game was to just bring pace. I need to control the pace of the game because I can't switch in everything he has. All I can do is try to steer the game in a way where we're trading and my team's built to trade, his team isn't built to trade. That was kind of my strategy. So my Metagross is going to go down here. Entei is going to come in on the Aggron to click Overheat. Or did I go for Shadow Ball? I went for Flamethrower, so neither. Nice one. I'm going to go for Flamethrower again to get Reuniclus nice and weakened. And here I'm going to go into Zygarde. My thought process here was with Reuniclus so weakened, he would definitely want to switch it out here, which would give me potential to set up. So I'm going to go for Dragon Dance, but he's actually just going to attack it. And he's going to lower the special defense, do some damage. I don't believe the special defense mattered for anything, so not a big deal there. I will take down the Reuniclus, and Aggron is going to force me out because since it's Mega Aggron, it does not take enough from my 1,000 arrows, and Ice Punch does way too much back to me, so I'm going to have to switch out. I'm actually going to go into Glade, which I know can take an Ice Punch. And he shows Toxic, so I could have just subbed up there and it would have been so good for me, but, you know, I definitely wasn't going to be predicting that. I get to bring my Glade in here now, and I can click Drain Punch, which, as Coco comes in, shows to be able to claim a KO on anything, even the resisted hit. We're now down to a 3-on-3 here. He brings in Swellow, and I think about the position here and what my safest way to win is. He can't, because there's such a good chance that if I was going to choose a Pokemon to sack, the one I chose would be Glade. He can't click U-turn. He has to click Boom Burst. Or if he's the other set, which I didn't see as likely, Brave Bird. I imagined it would be Boom Burst, which rules out me bringing in Zygarde since, you know, it would die. I'm actually going to go into Hoopa here, which is my one Pokemon that can live a Boom Burst. And he does go for the Boom Burst. Hoopa lives. Now I'm going to click Hyperspace Fury, which is just the move to do the most damage to the most things. Aggron comes in and gets 2 KO'd by that. And I'm going to take a lead here. I think first time all battle. Or no, first time since the 6-5 start. I'm going to bring in my Glade on the Hitmonlee, which could live a hit, as you see, real close, probably a roll. Doubtful that it mattered so much. But the Glade was the switch in here because, of course, Hoopa is the best win con here. Glade I knew could potentially take a hit, and I didn't know, since he didn't seem to be Electric Seed, well, since he obviously was an Electric Seed at this point, my first thought was Scarf, and Glade would be able to tell me that if it's Scarf or not. Since it's close combat, not reckless high jump kick, Zygarde definitely lives, and that's great to know. He's going to go for Bullet Punch, so I know he's not Scarf, and I know my play here is to go into Zygarde and Dragon Dance. He's going to go for close combat, and that's going to pop my iPop. Or Agua Berry, actually. And I'm going to Dragon Dance. This thing's now definitely in range of 1,000 arrows and will drop. And Swellow has Piss Bulk, so that's going to drop too. And we are going to win our 2 games to start off the season to bring Max, his team, from 1-4 to 3-4. All at you, boy. That's why they call me PapaDynamax. And that's going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I feel better. I feel better bringing my league totals down to just 1. Feels like less of a chore. You know, I feel like it's less of an obligation to do and just something I can kind of pick up once a week. I feel better just doing 1, so I should be good to get the rest of the season up, I think. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.